This is the Stinky Atom game. In Lesson 2, you will have introduced the idea of subatomic particles as well as the concept of atomic number. In the Stinky Atom game, your students will practice finding elements on the periodic table and then locate the atomic number for those particular elements and then construct a model of those atoms using their shoes. Equipment that you'll need for this game includes a clear playing area, again inside or outside will be fine, and then a means of designating two circular areas on one end of the playing area. You can use a hula hoop, you can use a piece of rope, hose, or chain laid in the grass to designate these two areas. Now you'll need these areas, as many of these as you have teams created from your students. You'll need at least 2 teams to play the game. The first thing you need to do is have your students remove their shoes and place them in a large pile down between your 2 circular hooped areas here. Now the game works as a relay. What you'll do first is call out the name of an element. Each team then will have access to a periodic table of elements, and they'll hunt that element on the periodic table. Once they find it, the first person on each team will dash down and gather a shoe, one shoe at a time, to first represent protons that will build their model of their element. So let's say, for example, that you've chosen the element helium. Helium is atomic number 2 on the periodic table, so they'll find helium, and then once they find it, the first members of each team will dash down to the pile of shoes and choose one shoe to represent the first proton for the element helium, and then they'll dash back and tag the next teammate, who will then run down and collect another shoe and quickly place it in the center of the circle, which represents the nucleus of the atom for helium. So now that they've gotten 2 protons representing helium here, we won't use neutrons in this game. The next team member that runs up will begin collecting electrons. So they'll place shoes out on the perimeter of the circle representing their atom. They'll run back. The next team member will run and get another electron and again place it out on the periphery of the circle and then dash back. And then that team will have completed the task. The other team is obviously competing and doing the same thing, collecting protons and then electrons for their team. The team who completes the task first wins the point, provided they have an accurate model created. So it's your job then to go over and check and make sure that their model is correct. In this case it was helium, and so they should have the 2 protons and then the 2 electrons held by an atom of helium. Once a team has the correct model built, you can award that team a point, and then play can continue. You'll return the shoes back to the pile in the center and call out another element. Now the number of students you have will determine the number of shoes that you have available to play the game, and therefore that will limit the element number that you can call from the periodic table. If you want to play with using elements that are higher on the periodic table with higher atomic numbers, you can either bring more shoes from home or have your students each bring along an extra pair of shoes, which will enable you to call elements that have a greater atomic number. If you'd rather not use shoes to play this game, you can use any sort of other objects that are small and consistent in size, which can be carried back and forth across from a pile into the hooped area. Examples might include a set of balls, if you've got plastic Easter eggs, any other object which you'd have an ample supply of. You can use rocks, you can use cups, just about anything, blocks of wood that can be readily used and handled by your students. So in summary, this is the Stinky Atom game, part of Lesson 2, where your students are practicing the concept of the atomic number.